These were completely false promises. Cameron said to you, you can have a referendum. Cameron said to you, I will cut immigration. Cameron said to you, I will get rid of the Human Rights Act. He did these things to get you to vote him into number 10. He, in my opinion, never intended to carry out any of these things at all. And how can we control immigration anyway when we're part of a European Union where we now have a total open door to the whole of Eastern Europe? Total open, unlimited. We have an unlimited open door to Eastern Europe. Today, you can arrive in this country from Warsaw and claim job seeker allowance on day one. And we have the terrible spectre now in this country of rising unemployment. Rising unemployment socially is always bad. But what nobody seems to have noticed is that unemployment amongst young people in this country is now 21%. That is a disaster. You know, young people who are idle, got nothing to do, tend to get themselves into trouble, which isn't good for them, it isn't good for society. And that is why we've got to stop this open door, because it's madness at a time of rising unemployment to have massive oversupply in the unskilled labour market in this country. By reducing immigration, by giving people tax incentives, by lifting the level at which people start paying tax to the level of the minimum wage, you actually say to people on benefit, here's an incentive. You know, go to work and you'll actually be better off. So I want us to be the party that campaigns for jobs, and particularly jobs for young people. And we are the party that recognises that the real heroes of this country are the 3.5 million men and women that run small businesses in Britain. Very, very important. They don't have a voice, because when the BBC talk about business, they have a representative on from the CBI, or a representative on from a big multinational company, one that probably isn't even registered here, and one that probably pays very little tax here. And what everybody forgets is that over 60% of the jobs in this country, in the private sector, are created by small entrepreneurs with firms of less than 10 employees. And yet what successive government after government has done to our small businessmen and women is to pile onto them regulation after regulation. Employment law. You know, most small businesses are terrified of taking on a youngster because if a year into it the person isn't suitable, they can't get rid of them because they'll be taken to an industrial tribunal. They have a mass of health and safety legislation which makes their work impractical and expensive, and we have, through environmental policies, through this total obsession that CO2 means that we'll all be fried to a crisp within the next 3 weeks. You know, we have now put upon small companies, and on big companies too, a completely unworkable regime. I mean, can you believe that up in the northeast in Redcar, Chorus, who were the steel manufacturers, last year Chorus closed in Redcar with a loss of 1,500 jobs. For closing, they were given by the government £300 million as a bonus in carbon credits. Yet, so we've actually paid Chorus to close down and to relocate the production to India. So even if we were concerned about CO2, the net result is zero anyway. And we're actually paying industrial companies to move abroad. So UKIP wants to be an avowedly pro-business party. We want to get rid of some of these crazy green taxes that are driving manufacturing abroad. And we want to say that for small employers employing less than 10 people in a small company, they will be exempted from the excesses of employment regulation. And if just 1 in 4 of them took on a young school leaver, we would alleviate the problem of youth unemployment in this country. These are all positive ideas. So we have ideas, we have a blueprint, we have a plan, we're on the up, we're growing. I think people are beginning to believe in us. We feel that our country has been given away by career politicians, and we want our country back. And we want it back. We want it back, not just for the memory of those who sacrificed so much in the past. No, even more important than that, we want it back for our children and our grandchildren, so that they can grow up in a free democracy, so that they can call themselves proud to be British. And we'll do that, and we'll trade with our European partners. We'll be good neighbours with our European partners, but we will not be governed by them or their institutions. We will stand proud as a nation. And I want to say this to you. Those of you that have come along tonight, who've never been to one of our meetings before, and that is the vast majority of this room, if you agree with what we're trying to do, if you agree with what you've heard this evening, then for goodness sake do something that the English tend not to do. We tend to be slow to anger, don't we, as a country? But there is a change of mood in this country. This is getting serious, and I'm asking you, if you agree with what we're saying, resolve tonight to do something about it. Do something about it. Help us, join us, support us. Look at the literature we've got at the back of the room. Do anything you can to help us. This great country of ours has been given away by career politicians, but I believe, optimistically, that the will of decent working people in this country, we can and will win it back. Thank you very much. Because my watch is on European time still, but no. So we're okay. It's only 8:10. I am very happy to take questions, comments, so please, hands up and let's try and get the debate going. Yes, sir. Just the chap behind you first, sorry.
Well, I was going to ask whether you could reveal in which language Merkel and Sarkozy converse, because there never seems to be an interpreter present. Don't tell me it's English.
No, it wouldn't be English. Sarkozy speaks a bit of English, and I have had one or two interesting chats with him. I wouldn't say he's actually on side, but never mind. Merkel's English is pretty limited. No, they speak in French. They speak in French. Of course, French was very much the language of the EU until Britain joined. Until Eastern Europe joined, and now, of course, English is actually becoming the language of the world, isn't it? You know, increasingly in business, right across the world, if you speak English, you have a huge advantage. But I think it's funny, really. There's no great love lost between Sarkozy and Merkel, and that's fairly clear. But the two of them, the big two countries, who were right at the heart of the project from the very beginning, they now rule the roost, don't they? They now rule the roost. And I think for little countries that are in the Eurozone, you know, increasingly, this is beginning to look like dictatorship. Because the way Papandreou was removed, I thought was absolutely monstrous. And you know, all the jokes and all the criticisms of Greece, I actually genuinely feel sorry for the Greek people. Because a proud nation has now been literally handed over lock, stock and barrel to a group of foreign, unelected bureaucrats. And I've always argued the case that if you take away from people the most powerful thing they possess in a free society, their ability, through the ballot box, to hire their leaders, but perhaps more important, to fire their leaders, and to be the masters of their own destiny, if you take that away, all people are left with is civil disobedience.